listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of both RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients using various proven Internet marketing techniques and methods to help them achieve even greater success. The purpose of this show is what we try to do is bring on each week two subject matter experts for the first two episodes, and then in the third section, I will give you some tips to help you achieve even greater success. Everything on this show is free. The guests come on for free. They don't pay. They don't get paid. I don't pay. I don't get paid. This is a total free service for everybody who is in business or trying to get in business. So maybe you work for somebody and you're trying to create your own future instead of relying on other people. So one of the big things is once you start a business, you have to develop social media platforms and profiles, and then also a business profile, and then also from there you can have a business group. So our guest today, Haley Lynn Gray, is a marketing strategist and social media expert. She is a 3-time best-selling author and the founder of Women's Entrepreneur Network, and that's a Facebook group of over 61,000 members, which she grew organically in just over 2 years. And all this, she's also a mom of 4 very active children and an avid volunteer and board member for several charities. Haley Lynn, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you so much for calling in. Now, you're calling in from North Carolina or South Carolina, I believe?
Yeah, I'm near Raleigh, North Carolina.
Excellent. Thank you so much for taking out the time to speak and share your expertise with our guests today. I'm sure that this brief bio I gave you covered some things, but you and I have spoken. I know who you are. I've listened to you on other interviews and stuff, but could you give the listeners maybe a little bit more of background of who you are and how you got to have such success?
Sure. I decided, and I got interested in the marketing and sales aspect of the business a few years ago when I started my own personal senior home care agency. And I learned that marketing and sales was going to have to become a passion and an interest of mine as the business owner, because that's how you get more clients, marketing and sales. And I was also doing consulting after I graduated from Duke's Fuqua School of Business with my MBA. So I decided to go ahead and start the Women's Entrepreneur Network after I had been blogging for a couple of years, is that sort of networking and putting resources out there, helping people connect one another's businesses. And I started it in May of 2015. And by September of 2016, we were at 10,000 members, and we've grown 50,000 members in the last year. So it's been really amazing seeing the almost exponential growth in the group and seeing how it's grown and changed as we've added new members to the group.
Yeah, that's amazing. I myself have a couple of groups, and altogether, my social media profiles are around 200,000, 227,000 or so. But my Facebook is only around, I don't know, about 30,000. So kudos to you for having 61,000 and climbing. And you did this in 2 years or so?
Yes, I did.
Yep, that's amazing. So it sounds like from what you just said that it was like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, you just started in this field. Were you working prior to that, and then you just decided to be an entrepreneur? Or?
Well, I was working in corporate until 2013, and I started a home care agency at that time. When I graduated from Duke, I got my MBA. I had done my concentration in entrepreneurship and innovation, and I decided at that point to leave the corporate world and start my own thing. And I had been doing a little bit of part-time consulting on the side with some small business owners here locally, and it kind of became its own business as well at the same time. So I was doing a couple of different things. And last year I decided to focus full-time 100% of my energy onto the whole marketing and sales strategy piece and the business coaching.
I love it, and that's one of the main things I tell my customers and clients is you can have the best product in the world. If people can't find you, you're never going to be successful. And someone else can have a subpar product or service, but because they have better marketing or better reach, they're going to dwarf you. So I agree with you 100%. And one of the things Facebook groups and pages is how to build a tribe, and that's used on Facebook. But what it basically means is you've developed a relationship with a certain group of people where they get to know, like, and trust you. They want to see your posts instead of it being forced upon them. They click on a profile or a group, and because they like the post, they like the subject matter. So having that many people follow you, so they become loyal. So how do you get people to choose and then follow up so they become loyal and stay?
I think there is a lot to be said for consistency. When you're marketing, you have to be consistent. When you're doing sales, you have to be consistent. So one of the things that I learned very early on in my group was that I needed to be posting several times a day. I don't physically have to do the posting myself. I can use a tool or I can have an admin help me post, but there needs to be high-quality content going into the group that is working on getting engagement or getting a reaction, comment, starting a whole conversation with people several times a day, because they have to feel that there's a reason to go hang out in the group. So that was kind of one of the things that I really stumbled on fairly early on, was that I realized that getting people to actually talk to one another instead of just coming into the group and scrolling through the information was going to be hugely important. And I started to get engagement actually kind of in a moment of just sheer frustration because I couldn't get people to answer any kind of questions. So I was like, okay, fine, I can get a reaction. And I looked at it and I'm like, okay, so what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? And I went from having no responses on a post to getting 150 responses on that first post. And I was like, oh, so this is how they play it. And I discovered that I had to kind of mix some of the funny and silly ones in with the more serious ones. And then once I had sort of trained people to respond to the easier questions, they would respond to the more challenging or more thought-provoking questions. And I continue to mix a little bit of the silly with a lot of the serious. And I found that that kind of recipe really helps, and it increases engagement. And Facebook has an interesting way of increasing the number of people that it recommends your group to based on the engagement going on in the group. So that has helped me tremendously on a number of different levels.
Yeah, that's true. And I like the way you touched on several things. And one of the things I liked is about the delegation. I tell my clients no MWAs, and by that I mean no minimum wage activities. They need to focus on whatever their 1, 2, or 3 top money-producing activities are, because they're the leader, that they have a company. Whatever their top producing activities are, they need to focus on that, and then they need to delegate whatever they can pay somebody, 10, 15, even up to $20 an hour to take care of for them. So when you spoke about having an admin, I really like that. And there's also tools. You have Buffer and Hootsuite and several others that someone can sit there. You can pay somebody, you say they're going to post 2 or 3 times a day, and people might be thinking, well, geez, I got to get somebody, 20 out. No, you can pay them 3 or 4 hours, and they can sit there and just schedule all their posts for the next 2 or 3 weeks using these Hootsuite, Buffer, and others. So I really like how you do that. Now, do you yourself, is it more than just you there, or do you have a team?
I do have a team. But most of the managing of the group is myself, and then I have brought in volunteers that help manage the team. I currently have about 30 admins in the group that are volunteers, and we do it as a team to manage the group because, no one person can really manage that kind of traffic in the amount of craziness that goes on in a group that size. But as far as like my employees, I just have one employee.
Excellent. Good for you. But it's right. I like that. And I like the way that you talked about the engagement. When you first started, there wasn't a lot of engagement. And you sat back and you thought, well, how can I do this? So another thing that I like to tell people is try it, test it, and tweak it. And it sounds to me like that's what you did with the ice cream. You tried different. You tried posting. It really didn't work. You tested it. You tweaked it. You found something else, whether it's what's your favorite ice cream. Today's National Donut Day. What's your favorite? Whatever the subject matter is, just to get people engaged and then, make them laugh and make them cry. You touched on that. Yeah, and then also going from there and then moving into some a little more serious subjects. And we're not talking about, we're talking about business-related stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So, so I really like that, the way that you kind of groomed them and trained them. So that's an art form in and of itself. So kudos to you for that. Now, if somebody's just starting out, I mean, realistically, maybe they have a cleaning company or something. They're domestic cleaners, or they want to clean offices, or they're painters, or they're a business coach or something like that, and they're just starting out. They're by themselves. They don't have a lot of people. Now, we already know that they can hire VAs and use Hootsuite, schedule their stuff out. Because we'll go new people, then we'll go people who are established, and then maybe even advanced. But if somebody's brand new, what would you suggest? They create a Facebook group or a Facebook fan page. Some things they do. A new person and somebody who's a little more advanced.
I really am a big believer in having everybody start a business page or a fan page, regardless of their business. There are certain things you just can't do with a Facebook group. You can't do advertising with a group. You can't target people with a group. So there are certain things you can do in a group and certain things you can't do in a group. And it's kind of important to know that there is a little bit of a difference. And then once you have a business page, I think that it's important to really weigh how active you want to be. Certainly, posting a few times a week is important. And posting interesting, engaging, funny, content that people actually want to see on their social media. Because if you think about it, people go on to social media to be social. They don't go on to be sold to. So, whatever that means for your line of business, it can be thought-provoking. I mean, absolutely. But you need to put content out there that people really want to see. And then, if you're a more advanced business, or if you've been around for a little while, or even if you're a new business, you have to make a decision whether you really want to start a Facebook group and go through the amount of work that's involved with that, or find other well-established groups and even volunteer to help run them. It's amazing how you can just step up and offer to, volunteer to help run a local networking group, and it can be so powerful. And you can really get a lot of the benefit of the group without ever actually having to start your own. So, think about whether you really want your own group and what the purpose of it would be and what you're hoping to gain by it and how, and then decide, okay, do I really want to partner with somebody else, or do I really want to start my own?
Yeah, I like that idea too, because all the administrative stuff is already done for you. So if you jump in and you help somebody as an admin, or somehow you contribute to the group and then they give you access to the group, by default, you have achieved the same goal, but without all the time and effort to get to that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, and sometimes, marketing is about being creative with your business. It's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It's finding the right solution that works for you with the amount of time that you have and you want to invest into the business.
Excellent. Now, your group is Entrepreneurs Network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they all entrepreneurs, or are they some to be who like the conversation?
Mostly everybody in the group is some form of entrepreneur, although we do see a significant percentage of people who are in direct sales. But there's also a lot of just about everything else in the group, whether it's an attorney or realtors or just about any profession, insurance sales, people who do printing, who own all kinds of different businesses are in there.
And now, can men join the group, even though it's specifically the name of the group is women?
Yeah, we do have a fair number of men in the group. We just ask that they participate nicely, and,
what does that
mind
mean?
their P's and Q's. What does that mean? It means no soliciting the women in the group for other purposes.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's not it's not a dating site. I mean, it's a business site, right?
It's not a dating group. Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's no question. I mean, it didn't even, until you said that, it wouldn't even have dawned on me. You're right. I mean, it's an entrepreneur. It's a network of business people there for business, but I guess, opportunity sometime, right?
Facebook being Facebook, people will behave poorly at times.
Nice. And all right, cool. So now that's excellent. Now, can you give somebody like maybe 3 tips if they're going to, with a group of 61,000? I mean, how do you allow like advertising in the group, or what if somebody is, like you said, direct marketing? So maybe they're in a MLM or something, or maybe they're a painter or a house cleaner in Detroit or somewhere else. Do you allow people in that group to say, hey, I paint houses in and around Detroit or whatever city. If you know anybody within a 30 square mile, please let me know. Thanks, or please let me know, and I'll give you a commission. Do you allow people to promote, maybe like on a Thursday promotion or something like that?
We allow promotion on Sundays, and we actually require them to start all of their posts in the group with a hashtag. So every other day except Sunday, it's no promo, hashtag no promo, or hashtag leadership girl, which is the name of my business. And then on Sundays, it's hashtag promo Sunday, which means that they've read and they're agreeing to follow the group guidelines, which are posted in the group description. I've had a lot of people who think that that's silly until they're like, oh, well, I could do this with one arm behind my back. And I'm like, oh, really? Here, come join me as a moderator for about a week. And they're like, oh, holy cow, because we get over 1,000 posts on Sundays. And we just require people to tell us up front what their business is and what the nature of the business is before we're going to allow a post through. So we actually do review every single post that goes into group.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
When you start thinking, wow, 61,000 sounds great, and it's like, yeah, it is really great, except that, you are managing large numbers of people, and some people, want to treat it as if it's their own advertising group, and nobody else should be able to advertise, and they wonder why there's not, like, tons and tons of advertising, because we do restrict how much, so it doesn't just become a dumping ground.
Excellent. Now, I assume that when people start groups or fan pages, they're doing this in a way to monetize it, to somehow drive, to increase awareness of who they are and what they do, to drive business. I mean, that's kind of the fundamental point of it. If it was a group on whether it was dating or recipe, something correct, then it would just be a social group. But if it is an actual business group, with even like a title of Entrepreneurs Network, how do you monetize this? Because if somebody's going to start tomorrow and they're going to create a page or a group, they may never achieve 60,000, but they might achieve 6,000, right? And if they have that 6,000, what type of advice could you give them that could help them possibly monetize their efforts?
Right. So where you're monetizing a group like this is you're either getting them into another paid group, or you're getting them to join your programs, or you're selling one-on-one coaching, or you're selling your services somehow. I've seen even people like mortgage brokers who start networking groups because it gets them word-of-mouth referrals to their business. And it's worth it to them to manage a group even with 1,000 people in it, because it blows the amount of business that they're getting, just like completely, blows the lid off of it, because they're getting, essentially word of mouth referrals from 1,000 people who they've taken the time to build the know, like, and trust factor with. One of the things I do caution people about with starting a group like this is that you don't go from 0 to 60 overnight. There is a certain amount of time it takes people to build the know, like, and trust factor with you in the online world. So it can take 12 to 18 months with this type of marketing before people really, really trust you, and they truly want to refer to you, and they are consistently referring to your business. So it's not an instant process, but it can be very lucrative when it works, and if you're putting the effort and energy into it.
Excellent. That's a great place to pick up.
So one of the things that you have to know about social media is that nearly every single platform at this point is measuring your engagement with your posts and how people are engaging with everything you post. The more engagement you get, the more people it shows your posts to. So there is definitely an art form to getting more engagement. Now, it can be incredibly frustrating if you're just a small business owner who is trying to build your business and you're trying to, just tell people what it is that you do, and why in the world can't I just promote myself out there? Unfortunately, your readers and your audience don't really necessarily want to be promoted to. So there's this balance between pulling them in and getting them to be interested in you and having them buy you, and getting them to pay attention and spend money and whatnot. So it can be this almost tango that you're doing with organic engagement. And engagement is really, when we talk about it, in case people don't know, it's that getting people to actually like, comment, and share your posts. And it can be tricky to get. Make no mistake. That's why everybody always has that view of, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go create the next viral video. Have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to create the next viral video, because you know that you're going to get all these eyes on your business. And since LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest all measure, how much people are repinning, commenting, sharing, liking your posts, it becomes much, much more important to be posting things that people find interesting, witty, funny, heartrending, touching, moving, interesting when you are posting on social media. So that becomes your focus. And Facebook in particular will actually really, they really reward you if you have a lot of engagement and you have a lot of people responding to posts and sharing and commenting on things. And they really penalize you if you don't have as much of that. So it is definitely a balance between the two. It's not just about getting likes on your page anymore. It's really about how much engagement are you getting on your page.
Excellent. And you also mentioned organic, and I thank you for talking about engagement, giving people a definition. Now, I know organic, what that means, but could you tell the listeners what you mean by organic?
So organic is you're not paying for it. And it's important that you be getting unpaid for reach as well, because on many social media platforms, if your posts are not getting a good organic reach by themselves, then if you're putting up paid content that people aren't as interested in seeing, you're actually going to have to pay almost exponentially more for people to see that content. Because Facebook has this thing called a relevance score now, and if people don't like your comment, that relevance score drops and drops and drops, and if it gets low enough, they'll actually shut down your advertising account. So you really want to have good, organic and really good rates of engagement with your posts, because you want people to really react to them positively so that you can get more reach. And you can try to buy your way into it, and you can absolutely, pay to sponsor, and Facebook has become very much a pay-to-play type of environment. But I will guarantee you that if your posts are really focusing on eliciting a good reaction from people as much as they are from, just telling people what your business is, you'll do much better.
Excellent. I like that. That's a great explanation. And you're right. The algorithms, right now, Facebook is, it's we don't know if it's 3 or 6% they're actually showing a post to. So if you have 1,000 people who like you or is it part of your group, if you're not paying, 3 or 6% will see that. So that means 30 to 60% will see it organically on its own. But if that material, if that post, people start to like it, people like to share it, Facebook sees that as like a social signal, and they see that, and then they turn around and they will post it on more people's sites. So it's just natural that it will grow. So you're 100% right on that. And it's unfortunate. In some, what I try to tell people is don't even do pay yet unless you build your audience, because who are you? You can do pay and you can specifically pick zip codes and interests, and you can get real minute into that, right? They have a great demographic breakdown. But, the first thing you need to do, I would think, is to grow your list, grow your engagement, grow the people who are following you, and then maybe start doing some ads if you want to. But if you can do it organically in 61,000, I mean, you're killing it. You're crushing it. And I've been in the internet marketing field for years, and at 61,000 in a group, good for you. Kudos.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and, it's not that I'm against paid ads at all. I love a good paid ad. But I have clients who will come to me and say, oh, well, I want to run ads, and I look at their Facebook profile, and it's totally empty. And it becomes much more expensive to get every single conversion when you've got nothing on your Facebook page. Facebook just doesn't like that for a lot of reasons. So if you're starting from zero, sometimes you have to take a couple of months to just create an audience and get some stuff going before you really start running those ads and really start to see any kind of results from it. It can be a challenge getting that kind of reach going with your business. And there definitely has to be a strategy behind it. It can't just be I think I'm going to go boost this random Facebook post over here, because you might as well just hand, Facebook your wallet open and tell them to have at it.
Excellent. Good for you. We have a couple of minutes left, and I would really like you to give out your contact info before we leave. If you have a free offer, a book, or some opt-in that people can get to know you a little bit better by, and maybe 1 or 2 or 3 tips that people can use to get going right now or increase what they already have.
Sure. The best way to find me is at my website. It's leadershipgirl.com, and the website again is leadershipgirl.com. And if you actually go onto the website, you'll see a free ebook there, which is How to Build a Facebook Group. And I wrote that book when I hit 10,000 members in my group. So I was doing it while the memory was fresh, how I did the first 10,000 step. And I think that is a really great resource for people to download and read and really start to understand. And many people who have gone in and read the book and downloaded it have gotten really great results. So that's one of my best free offers out there, is the How to Build a Facebook Group ebook.
Excellent. And listeners, did you hear? It's free. So thank you very much for helping our listeners out. Now, do you have 1 or 2 or 3 tips, unless you feel like you've already given them, on how people can get going?
Sure. Really, there's a few things that I really encourage people. Stay on the good side of Facebook. Understand what will and will not get you put into proverbial Facebook jail. If you are spamming, or if you are adding people to your group without asking them first, or if you're private messaging people without having a prior relationship with them, or cutting and pasting things too fast, or if you're trying to promote into too many groups at the same time, those things will get you put into Facebook jail. So know what will and will not get you put into Facebook jail. So important, because you don't want your user ID suspended and frozen for an indeterminate amount of time because you didn't follow the rules. If you don't know the rules exist, you can't follow them. So just be aware that there is such a thing as what we call a Facebook jail. So think about that. And also focus on engagement. Focus on putting high quality content out there, and know that it may not be your family and friends who are your ideal clients. And in fact, many times you may have a couple of family and friends who really support your business, but a lot of them are not going to. So reach out and start building your network, either in other Facebook groups. You can use the search bar up top to find other Facebook groups, or you can do this on every single one of the platforms. But start widening your network and building connections with people as much as possible. And then engagement. Right now, social media is really heavily favoring video. Use the video on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, to really boost your business, because Facebook in particular puts a huge prioritization on video. So use it. It's free. And who doesn't like free?
Exactly. So you recommending people do Facebook Lives?
I do. I really do recommend Facebook Lives. You can get huge engagement with Facebook Lives in a way that you just don't get with other types of posts at times.
Excellent. I want to thank you very, very much. And do you have any closing thoughts?
So I think I would like to leave people with, it's not as hard as it seems or as daunting. Sometimes you just kind of have to jump in with both feet and try stuff out. And if your goal is to go out and go make new friends, you're going to do amazingly well.
Excellent. Haley Lynn Gray, you've been a tremendous guest. You've given out wonderful pearls of wisdom, actionable tips. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to come on the show. And again, just to remind the listeners, if you came in halfway or you want to re-listen to this, or you were unable to write things down, the radio's website is WCAP 980 AM, and you can certainly go and look at the archive there in a couple of days. It should be up in the right-hand corner of the website. You can also go to my website, rcstechnologysolutions.com. This episode will also be archived there, as well as up on my YouTube channel, Ronald Couming, Couming. Again, you've been listening to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of both RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients using various Internet marketing techniques and methods. Have a great week, everyone.